Whenever you're ready.
We are live.
We're live. Good.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mirabelli. How are things in your neck of the woods?
Good. Good. And you?
Good. Yeah, like recovering from the holidays.
Yeah, it's good to jump back into reality.
The kids go back to school tomorrow, and I never thought I'd be more excited to take them to school.
Yeah, it's routine is good for everybody.
That's true.
Right.
So we're here today to talk about one of our committees that most folks may not even know exists, and that is the AGA Canada committee. So take me back to the beginning. When did AGA Canada start and why?
So it started a couple of years ago, and really the genesis of it was formed because we saw the great things that y'all were doing in the U.S. And really around bringing restorers together, addressing common issues, and providing a platform to support the restorer. And in Canada, we had something similar. Wasn't as formalized.
Mm-hmm.
And when we saw what was happening south of our border, we started to recognize the value and the importance of really jumping on board and doing something similar to what the AGA was doing in the US. And I'm happy to say we've got some good people on board in Canada with some great knowledge and people who really care about the industry. And I think this is, this is really the direction we need to go to help unify, bring the industry together, and really help to educate not just ourselves, but all of our industry partners. So, yeah, look, we saw what you were doing. Short answer, we saw what you were doing, and we're like, wow, that's a great thing.
So why start your own special Canadian version, right? Well, I know very little about the market and the pressures that restorers face in Canada, but I know that they're very, very different. So what are the key differences in the issues that restorers are facing in Canada versus the US?
So I think generically our issues are fairly similar. I think what you have in Canada is very similar to what you have in Australia.
Uh-oh, Frank, I lost you. I wonder if your phone timed out. We'll give him a couple minutes to come back here.
Oh,
There
you're
you
there,
are.
Anthony?
Mm-hmm.
Are you there, Anthony?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Now I can't hear you for some reason.
Check, check.
Can you hear me, Anthony?
Yes.
Okay. Can I hear you?
I don't know if you can hear me.
No, I can't hear you.
Okay.
Maybe let me jump out, jump back in. Sorry,
Okay.
buddy.
Sounds good.
All right, 1 second. Hey, Anthony.
Hi, Frank. Do I have you back?
Thank you. My apologies. When technology is great, it's great. When it's not, it's not.
Oh, yeah, man. No worries. So, key differences
So,
Canada, US.
so Canada, you've got 5 insurers that literally own or write 50% of the Canadian market. Okay, and of that, the top 2 insurers own 30% of the market.
Oh, wow. So, it's super consolidated.
Well, we're very similar in a lot of respects to the Australian market. It
Mm-hmm.
it is very consolidated. So, and on top of that, Canada is really driven by program work.
Okay.
Aside from the independent relationships that may be built with, ICI type clients,
Mm-hmm.
if if you're working in a space where you're working with the the homeowner, you're working on one of the you're working for one of the, we call them insurers in the US, you call them carriers. You're working
Mm-hmm.
for one of the carriers on one of their programs, and Canada is primarily program driven.
Okay. So, what were the key issues that you guys were focused on for 2024? Because I know 2024 was a big year for you.
Yeah, so 2024 was a fantastic year. We were able to finally conclude the year with the finalization or preparation of our first Canadian white paper.
Okay.
And that's a big accomplishment for us. Really starting only 18 months ago, and getting to the point now where we've got a white paper that really summarizes the issues that we're focusing in Canada, and the primary, the main topic of the white paper is really around payment. Okay, look,
Mm-hmm.
cash flow is the oxygen for your business.
Yep.
If you don't have cash flow, okay, you can suffocate very, very fast. So what is important, and in Canada, provinces, very similar to your states, specific provinces have or will be adopting specific legislation around payment of subcontractors. So in Canada, even if we aren't paid by the carrier, we still have an obligation to pay our subs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very prescriptive, right? The mandate is very specific around how many days from receipt of invoice do you have to pay that subcontractor. Okay. So naturally, if we aren't paid, then, and the insurer or carrier doesn't pay us,
Mm-hmm.
you on a large job, you can quickly lose all of your margin, particularly in markets or times where you have rates of 6, 7, 8% on your line of credit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're now eroding your profit margin. So it's very important that we communicate to our insurance partners and educate them around our legal requirements for payment, which to a certain respect flow through to them as their requirements to pay us. Right. And I think what this white paper does is it starts to present information that we can share with our insurance partners and really our other partners, you know, if we're doing private work for hospitals, colleges, universities, whatever it may be, but we can share with them a industry accepted document that talks about why it's important to pay the contractor on time. And that was really the hope, is more than just trying to educate people, is getting everyone to agree or have some consensus around, one, what is the topic we want to address? And two, how do we address it? Now, the next phase for us is to launch the white paper and to let everybody know that it's available, and to start to educate a lot of the people on the other side who are holding the money, right, on why it's important to pay us. Because, you know, I believe that everybody always wants to make the right decision. Okay. Just got to give them the facts. Okay.
Agreed.
And I think that's what this white paper provides, is the education in a clear, concise document that Canadian restorers can now share, right? And it's no longer Frank, you know, it's no longer Frank sort of preaching from the soapbox as to why it's important to pay Frank on time.
Yeah.
Right. It's now, this is an industry document. It's supported with the backing of the RIA, which is an industry association, which gives it, you know, incredible validity and credibility. And hey, you know, here it is. So now that you know the facts, once you read the paper, let's have a discussion around why we need to be paid on time, and hopefully correct any of the problems that we've been having in the past.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know, like,
so what are you guys focused on for 2025?
So we've got a committee together. So now that we've got this white paper done, for 2025 is launching this paper, getting it out to the restorers in Canada, getting it out to our insurance partners and our other industry partners, getting the document out there, and really educating everybody around the paper, because just having the document is one thing, but understanding the document and its applicability, I think, is the whole second piece that we need to work on, you know, as well as start to work on what's the next paper we want to address, right? Like, you know, it's and this is one of the reasons why I'm involved in the RIA, and I hope a lot of other people are as well, is it's not just enough to say there's a problem. Okay, I think we need to present the solution.
Agreed.
And you know, this industry has been so good to a lot of us. It's allowed us to put bread and butter on our tables and allow the people that we work with to feed their families. At the end of the day, I think we have an obligation to better the industry. You know, as Mark so eloquently puts it, we have to leave the industry better than when we came in.
Yep.
And I think we all have a responsibility to do that. So I look forward to working with the group and putting the next paper together, and you know, fixing some of these things in the past that may have not been addressed.
Yeah. And they do seem to be like these slow burn issues, right? It's not like, oh, one day carriers just started paying late, right? It just slowly became this evolution, almost like the analogy of how do you boil a frog, right? Like the heat just kept getting turned up, and then all of a sudden you're in this place where you're like, holy crap, like I've been cash flowing my subs for 90 days and I'm still sitting here waiting on this money. So if I'm a restorer in Canada and I'm going to go use this white paper in a conversation with an insurer, like what are the talking points? Like how do I intro that paper in a way that doesn't get me on the blacklist for that insurer, right? Because that seems to be one of the differences between the two markets, right? Like in the US, there is a subsect of restorers that has decidedly said, you know what, we don't work for the carrier. We don't even care what the insurance carriers have to say. We're going to go do our thing, and that's it. And that, you know, for some of them, that tends to work. I tend to take a little bit more of a centrist view, maybe because my dad was a hippie, right? I just want everybody to get along, you know. But it seems like you can't survive in Canada with that mentality. So this white paper seems to have a ton of applicability. How would, you know, if somebody has this in their possession and they're going to go have this conversation and they know it's going to be a hard conversation, what advice do you have for them?
So, you know, like anything, you have to know the tool that you're working with. Okay. And that's what the white paper and the white papers, plural, you know, are. They're tools. And as we know in this industry, if you don't know how to use a piece of equipment, you can actually have more damage than good. So, I think the first thing is to reach out to the RIA or, you know, one of the committee members that help write the white paper, and you know, we're going to help you identify the specific talking points, right? But you know, I think more than that, Anthony. I think what we want to do is, you know, it's very difficult for Frank to go to, you know, to your point, to go to a client and say, hey, you should be doing this, and here are the things you need to be aware of. Because all of a sudden, you know, Frank, you know, for lack of a better word, maybe blackballed, right? So having this paper is important. But I think what we want to do is we want to find, very similar to what you have done in the US, is, you know, and Canada is a different market. So, you know, the approaches are different. But I think what we want to do is we want to take this white paper and have someone who works on behalf of the Canadian restorers go present and talk about the speaking points, so that we as individuals, individual banners or individual companies, don't have to, right? Because, you know, like I said earlier, the top 5% of the insurers have just slightly over 50% of the Canadian market. Right. So, you know, and it's tough, right? We're all trying to run our businesses every day. We're trying to find time for our families as well as our business and for ourselves. You know, we don't need something else on our plate to start door knocking and saying, hey, right? So, you know, we should be using the RIA as that vehicle, right? And that's why we're there, and that's why we all, you know, pay fees and we support the AGA Canada committee, and because, you know, let's have someone else do it for us so we can focus on our business.
That's awesome. So as a flag waving RIA member in Canada, what benefits of your membership do you feel like Canadian restorers should be leveraging?
So, you know, I there's not just one white paper. Okay. If I think first and foremost, I think people should be looking at least from a Canadian, even from a US perspective, the white paper. Okay. I myself there's an incredible amount of information there that you can use. Now, I myself was posed with a situation where I had a reviewer telling me I was using the wrong price list.
Mm-hmm.
An office came to me, asked for my support. We pulled out the white paper, and it was really using the white paper to help educate not just that reviewer, but also their boss,
Mm-hmm.
right? Around, which profile are we using contractor or care? Okay. And I'm happy to say that white paper actually led to our success in proving our point. So, I think first and foremost, use the resources that the RIA has invested in to help the restorers. That's why they're there.
Yep.
They're there to help all of us. I think it's important to be part of the RIA because really we're one of the few industries out there that doesn't have or that in the past may not have had a strong industry association, at least in Canada, right? So I think it's important that we're an industry. We represent a significant part of the economy, right? We help people in what many times is the worst moment in their life, right? So we're a significant industry, not just economically, but socially. So I think it's so important for us to be unified, to be together, to speak as one voice, to be coherent, because if we're not, we're fragmented, right? And you know what happens with fragmented? You go all over the place, right? So it's important that we sort of stand up to be recognized as adults, and what we do, and that's why I think it's important to stand with and behind an association that represents us. And thirdly, Anthony, I've met some fantastic people, including yourself, through the RI, and who I would have not have met and shared information with otherwise. Right. So like, there's a whole peer support group there that you can lean on, whether it be at a conference or picking up a phone call, having a conversation, or one of the different groups that are put together, whether in person or online. So they're there. Use the resources.
Awesome. And are you going to make it to West Palm Beach this year for convention?
Right now my plan is to make it. Yes, it's that is my plan.
So what are you looking forward to most at convention?
Really it's the networking. Okay.
Yeah.
I think aside from the trade show booths and talking to a lot of suppliers, I think, and some of the education sessions, I think the biggest thing is having the opportunity to talk to fellow restorers, talking about challenges, talking about issues, and maybe how they've solved some of these issues. Like we're all in this together, right? So I find I'm most looking forward to that. Aside from the warmer weather, right now we're in January in Canada, so it is a little bit colder than your part of the country right now.
Just a tad, man. Just a tad.
You may be plus 28. We may be in some parts of Canada minus 28, right? But no, I think that's what I'm most looking forward to, and just shaking hands and talking to people. That's
awesome. So as usual, I always ask my last question, which is, do you have any questions for me? Claire's coming down to say good morning.
Hi, Claire.
Hang on one second, babe.
No. I think you should be thanked for all the time you put into this. You put a ton of time into this.
Thank you.
We're all volunteers at the end of the day trying to make the industry better. So I just want to take this time to really thank you for doing all of this.
Appreciate it, man. Well, there's some automatic things that I get to do that fill my cup, and this is definitely one of them.
No, that's awesome.
Hopefully my personal mission is to make this industry a place that this little kid, like, I'd be proud for her to be a part of it, right? that's my ultimate goal in doing all of this.
You know what? Absolutely, man. Like I said earlier, this industry has been great for a lot of us. We put bread and butter on the table. We fed our families. It's our obligation to do the same for them, right?
Yeah,
Otherwise, why are we doing this?
absolutely. All right, I got to wrap it down because I'm getting invaded on.
Oh, you know what? That's awesome. That is incredibly awesome.
Yeah. Well, right on, Frank. Thanks for your
right.
time this morning. And like I said, I'm looking forward to school starting tomorrow.
All good. All good. That's the way it should be.
That's right, man. All right. You take care and stay warm. All right.
I will. Thank you. Take care.
All right.